How is Syracuse though? Like for people that don't know Syracuse, because definitely people like downstate, New York City, Long Island, even out of state. Shout out to our listeners out there. If you think of Syracuse, you only think of Syracuse University. You understand what I'm saying? Or upstate New York farm and all of that. Like, you talking about your life situation? Is that like normal? What's going on in Syracuse?
So I'll give you a perspective, right? There's Syracuse University in Syracuse. You go down the hill half a block, it's the projects.
Okay.
You go around the corner on the other side of the hill, it's more projects, right? So everywhere around Syracuse is high poverty. Like I'm currently a teacher in the city of Syracuse, and we have one of the highest poverty rates in New York State. Okay. So when you think of Syracuse, everyone's like, Syracuse University. But what you don't see is anywhere around that university is poverty. There is people just trying to make it. People trying to find something that's going to help them make it out of Syracuse.
And how did people, in that situation, I look at it like this. Let's say, how did people get stuck going into Syracuse? Because it amazes me how people get up to, upstate New York and live there. Like, how did people get to Syracuse, and how did that situation happen where you see poverty?
Honestly, I think it's like a way to get out of it, or
no. So what I'm saying is, like, I know in Utica, a big thing people say in Utica is like there's so many prisons.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. People go get locked up there, and then end up having a family up there, and they get stuck up there. Like, what's the deal with Syracuse, or why is there so poverty? Like New York City's understandable. Why is there poverty?
So honestly, there's not a lot of huge businesses in Syracuse. So there used to be a factory that a lot of people worked at in Syracuse. So back in the day, that brought a lot of people to Syracuse. I can't remember what like big business it was, but when that business shut down, we lost all the jobs in Syracuse. Everyone stopped working, and from that point on, that's when like Syracuse just started going down in the dumps. But it's like the suburbs around Syracuse are really nice places, and like if you ever come to Syracuse, you ever want to adventure out, you want to go to the mall, you want to see a nice place, you got to venture outside of Syracuse. So I think the biggest thing for the city of Syracuse is for us to find ways to bring that entertainment back into the city itself. I feel like when we bring the entertainment back into the city and we can get people to work together as one and build each other up and spend our money in our own city, that's when we're going to be most successful. So like 84% of like police and like elected officials in Syracuse do not live in Syracuse.
Big fact.
So the tax money, right? The money that everyone in Syracuse is paying for is going to the suburbs and funding the suburbs. Now you're like, oh, Syracuse, why Syracuse got so much poverty? There's all these people here. There's all these different things. The money's not going back into Syracuse.
People are coming taking money out, and no money is
taking money out, not coming back. And that's like in a lot of poverty places. People come in, work in, take the money back out, right? And like we've seen it coming in today. We've seen a guy outside laying on the ground, right? And you think about, this is New York City, right? This is a big city. But you see like a lot of people make money here, but where do they live? They live in Staten Island. They live in New Jersey. They live across water, so they could come in, work, and then the money goes right back out. Mm-hmm. So until all cities that have large poverty numbers, until the money stays in those cities, not much is going to be able to change.
Well, that seems like a catch-22, right? Because people who are making a lot of money, they come to impoverished community where they have ability to get a good paying job. You don't want to stay there. So naturally, you would end up in suburbs, or New York City people go to New Jersey. Connecticut is right there. Like,
you know why people move to the suburbs too? Back then, though, there was one governor. He forced white people to move in the suburbs so he could prevent communism when we had the Cold War going on. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, I never knew that.
Yeah, bro. They push people out from the city and hoping that prevent communism, the thoughts of communism.
Yeah, but it seems like there's no cure for that, right? Like if you make money in an impoverished neighborhood, you're not gonna stay there.
So as like a motivational speaker and an educator and a coach, right? All three of my things is, how can I give back to my community where I work and the people that I work with, right? Of how can I give back to this community? The biggest thing that we're going to be able to do to give back to this community is interact with these people and become part of the community, right? You think about your favorite coaches from Pop Warner all the way up to college, right? Your favorite coaches connected with you on a personal level as a human being, right? And you're part of the community, right? So when you have someone that's making you better, you can better your community, and that person can also feel comfortable to come into the community and help better that community, right? It's like with everything going on over the summer with like the Black Lives Matter and everything. It's like we're over here cheering for the police that are in the community actually doing their job or going out playing basketball. It's like, no, we shouldn't have to celebrate that. That cop is just doing what he's supposed to get to know his community so he can lower the crime rates. Yet we see a video like that is getting millions of views when that should be the regular.
I agree with you 1,000%. But the fact that it's not the regular is, I guess, where the issue is, right?
Yeah, and that's across the board of any job that works with people or works with the community.
I was saying this while that whole situation was going on. I think there needs to be a budget when a cop gets hired. He needs to go to a certain amount of houses, whether it be 10, 20, 30 within the community that he works in, have dinner, have conversations with these people and get to know them. So when a situation happens and domestic violence call, the cops don't come hostile, right? Maybe they have the guy's phone number like, yo, what's going on? We on our way there right now. Make sure no one is near any weapons or anything like that. Or when the man who might be heated because his girlfriend just got caught cheating or whatever it may be.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I know that cop. He's cool. Let me approach him in a respectful manner. He approaches me in a respectful manner. And I think it'll just make community policing that much better.
Oh, for a fact. The biggest thing is like, we sit around and we all think we need this huge plan, this 20-page PowerPoint, and it just comes down to like mutual respect, right?
Yes.
You got to see and you have to realize that like when you look at a lot of the poverty areas, a lot of these homes don't have two parents, right? It either has a mother 90% of the time or just a dad or very slim mother and a father, right? So now you get someone who's coming from a two-family home sometimes that end up making it to be officers, or you get like the officers that came from that same background that like some of the people they work with, so they understand the community more and how to relate to the community and like how to break things down. So if you never learn how to actually break these things down and how to interact with like people in the environment you're working with, then any situation you go into, I don't care how much respect the other person has, is always going to be hostile. Like, because you don't know how to interact with this person. It's like if you take me, for instance, I'll go in any environment and I can read the environment, but I'm going to be myself because I think I've been exposed to, like, I grew up in Syracuse, but also was able to go to a very well WPI school, right?
What does that mean?
Like white institution.
Okay.
Right? Predominantly white institution. So I was able to see both spectrums of being dirt poor, being called dirty, fat, this and that, but also being able to go be in multi-million-dollar homes, right? So it's like when you get exposed to that, these are the people you want to like surround yourself around, and these are the people that you want to learn from. So now I can bring my culture, my part of me, give it to this person, give it to that person, and we all are making each other better. Right? So now when we get those people into being like police or elected officials, they have more of a background of everything around them rather than just a strong background here and studied the other background. To me personally, I don't care how much you can read of a book. If you never experienced it, it doesn't matter what you know in that book. Like me, myself, I finished regular undergrad with a 2.8 degree, but personally, you could put me up against any 4.0 student and I'll out-debate them, I'll outsmart them any day. Only thing they could be better than me is reading that book. But I can tell you, I'm going to give you more experience and more life.
That's your nuts hang. That's your nuts hang, big dog.
So that GPA don't mean nothing. It's about your life experiences, because we all know people that are book smart or well educated, but they can't talk to a wall.
No, that's a fact.
Ever told on a nigga? No. Ever squeezed a trigger? Yep. Ever set a nigga up? No. Ever helped a brother out when he was down on his luck?